had a pretty big payout, about $250,000, which, at any age is a lot of money, but at 19, it was a lot of money. Half my family are on benefits, the other half are good with their hands. I always think in the darkest moments, it reveals quite a lot of light in your life.
Yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this. Please do comment so we know where you are and who you are and what you are doing. This is Mark Harvey, and this is Real Life Money Monday, where we're going to be talking about business, property, money, mindset, and whatever else our special guest this evening wants to discuss on the panel. Now, you are in for an absolute treat this evening, because the question on most people's mind is, how do I live the life I desire? And in the process, like Del Boy once said, this time next year we'll be millionaires. And Jamie made it to millionaire status at the age of 25. And he just let me know that it was actually his birthday a couple of weeks ago. And you just turned 30, Jamie. So first of all, thank you for being on this panel this evening. We're excited to dig deep and understand a little bit more about you, and discuss some hot topics in the property market and just generally about how businesses are operating in these what some may call uncertain times, and other people are actually enjoying the ride. So thank you for coming on, Jamie.
Good to be on, Mark. I'm excited for it, and I really appreciate you having me on this evening. And hello to everyone. And I'm excited for tonight. Excited for the questions coming in. And I'll do my best to add some value.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to do that. But first of all, this is this kind of stuff that gets people excited. This is why we call it Money Monday. But really, what we also want to get into this evening is, what is it behind the scenes that happens to generate this money? Because when it comes to property, there's so many people out there. And Jamie, also being a trainer himself, training people how to set up property investment. Is it businesses, Jamie, or you just train people in property investing in general?
Yes, it's mainly around setting up property businesses. I think property investment's cool. That's investment side, but more of the business model behind it and how to scale actively, I would say, rather than the passive routes.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get into that, because there are so many opinions out there. There's so many different discussion topics. But first of all, just give us a little bit on your background, Jamie, how it was for you growing up, and then how you got into business, how you got into property, just so the questions coming in, people know what to ask.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not sure what angle you want me to come from, so I'll just spitball and you stop me if I'm rambling on too much. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, let's say, before I even knew what the word meant, to be honest. But I was always a bit of a hustler. I like working hard. I like earning money when I was a kid. And my upbringing was what I'd say was blue collar. So I didn't grow up with money. Half my family are on benefits. The other half are good with their hands, let's say. And so I was sort of a bit of a grafter from an early age, and my dad taught me how to get on the tools and earn a bit of money. And then when I was younger, I had a bit of a pivotal moment, which was my dad passing away when I was 13, which is shit for everyone. But I always think in the darkest moments, it reveals quite a lot of light in your life. And I think it gave me the opportunity to go, okay, well, how do I step up? And I mean, like a subconscious, I wasn't that wise of a 13-year-old, reflecting on those moments. But yeah, I just started sort of realizing that life's short. There's a lot of potential out there. And so I just focused on doing what I could to be happy, really. That was it. What made me happy on a daily basis. And for me, it was just keeping busy. And I've always been obsessed with money for some reason. I like money. Some people say money is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. And I just think that's bullshit all the way through. I don't think money is anything. I think it's an object, and it just kind of accentuates who you are, right? So I really focused on that. And then when I got to university, I started making a bit of money from trading originally. And I was okay at it. I started recognizing patterns in charts and fancied myself a bit of a trader. I made a bit of money, lost a bit of money. But I hated it, like absolutely hated it, because I just didn't like being on my own, and that's all I knew about the world. So I love people. I love being around people. I love talking to people. I love helping people. And so I kind of packed that in, but I actually got a bit of a payout. And this was when I was maybe 19, had a pretty big payout, about $250,000, which, you know, at any age is a lot of money, but at 19, it was a lot of money. But
and where did that come from?
somebody bought out the algorithm. So like when you trade, there's ways to get, the easy way of thinking about it is like a robot does the trading for you, and then you model the robot based on how you trade, if you like. So it was kind of doing that, but without my emotion. So it was better, if you like, than me. So somebody bought me out of that, and then sort of made it so I couldn't create another one for years and all of that sort of thing. So little did I know they would have paid me a lot more than that. In hindsight, little did they know I was going to pack it in anyway, because I hated it. So, you know, tit for tat and all of that. So, no, but what happens when you give a 19-year-old that amount of money, right? And so you can imagine I had a really good year, and spent about 230 grand of it. And, you know.
On what?
Sorry?
On what?
Do you know what? That's a bloody good question. I always say to people, it's not like I was sat there with a ridiculous car or ridiculous watches. Being completely honest, I was pretty much spending it on trying to impress other people. You know, it was about nights out, spending thousands of pounds on tables and stuff like that, for, bluntly speaking, people I didn't even like that much. You know, but that was 19-year-old me and my own insecurities, and stuff like that coming in, I guess. And so yeah, that was that. And there was a lecturer at the time at my uni, and he happened to invest in property. And I was one of those people, I watched Homes Under the Hammer all the time, decided, you know what, if these people can do it, I can definitely do it. And he kind of gave me a bit of a talking to, where he'd sort of said, look, either you're going to be like a great guy, people love you, people are around you, all of that. And I was like, oh wow, this feels really nice, you know, having somebody believe in me. He said, yeah, or you'll end up in prison. I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, look, the way you're going, it's probably going to be that route, unless you box your ideas up. So it was kind of the talking to that I needed. And at that point, I thought, yeah, let's go do it. So I had about 19 grand left. Couldn't get a mortgage, obviously, at that age, because of everything that was going on post-crisis as well. So I managed to find a 3-bed mid-terrace property in Burnley in the northwest, and it was £21,800, number 36 Burdett Street. So I bought it outright, scrambled money together, and then went back and forth, screwed everything up, which is a story in itself. But it was the first lesson, and I'm sure you'd agree, Mark. You often learn from the losses more than the wins, right? Or you learn from your mistakes.
I think it's the pain that's the teacher, not necessarily the loss, but it's the pain.
No. Yeah, you're right. It's that pain that, you know, when you win, you get used to wins, don't you? And so the feeling is lost somewhat with each win, which is why it's so important to anchor the wins along the way. But pain is always pain, right? Nobody wants the pain, really, especially when it comes to finances. So I learned a lot. I probably learned more in that one property than I have in the 10 after that, if I'm completely honest. And so, but that was the start of my career in property. And that was, you know, that probably scarred me for a good few years. So before I learned the lesson, I spent about 3 years blaming everyone else but me, right? And I was bitching about everyone, again, apart from me, and taking responsibility for my actions. So fast forward 3 years, which would have been about 7.5, maybe 8 years ago now, I really started, we spoke about education, which is an interesting topic in general, but I started investing in my education. I got mentors and all of that sort of thing, and then made mistakes on top of that. And then one thing after another, one property becomes 2, becomes 3. And obviously the compound effect starts catching on. And, you know, I always say it's the first 50K. Not earning 50K, the first 50K in your bank account is the hardest money I've ever made, because, you know, you're trying to survive on the money, but then once you get to that point, it just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. And then I say very short version, but that's how we sort of tickled on from then to today.